Hey, welcome to our broadcast today, and thank you again for joining us at our Business, Money, and Christianity. We're a financial podcast from a Christian faith perspective. And so I want to talk to you today um, to talk about a financial hustle. I guess that would be a terminology I could use, but it's using biblical wisdom for business success. And again, everything that we do is based on Bible and faith, although we're not really talking directly from the Bible. Everything is based on that. And so I want to dive into three powerful and timeless points that's straight from the Bible on how to build real, lasting success in business. Now, these aren't quick hacks. And a lot of people today are looking for quick hacks. How can I make and turn a bunch of money? If you bought silver a few years ago, last year, you made 146% on its increase. We've seen more increase here in January. But these are things that are just foundational on how to principles from scriptures it's guided entrepreneurs, leaders, and workers really for centuries. And so whether you're running a startup, climbing the corporate ladder, or scaling a side hustle, these truths can help you. Number one is diligence and hard work leads to abundance. I've talked about it before, and I enjoy trading stocks and options. I used to get in, get out, always trading, trying to make something looks good, trying to do it. And I'd be up sometimes, really well. I'd be down quite a bit. And I learned that boring is more profitable. And the Bible doesn't sugarcoat this. This is a scripture from Proverbs. Lazy hands make you poor, but diligent effort brings reward. One of the clearest verses comes from Proverbs 21:5. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty will only come to poverty. Slow and boring, planned, methodical, managing risk, exercising, your upside. These things play in the long game is where the money's at. Think about this in business term. Diligence isn't just showing up. It's consistent, focused effort day after day after day after day. It's planning your work, executing with care, following through on commitments, and refusing to cut corners, even when no one's watching. If you're here in the United States, there's this hamburger franchise that's really popular. It's called Wendy's Hamburgers. And most hamburger sandwiches in the United States, they have round hamburger meat. But at Wendy's, they're square. And Dave Thomas, the founder, said that his grandmother always told him, never cut corners. And so he made his hamburger patty square instead of round because he didn't want to cut the corners. So we don't want to chase get rich quick schemes. We don't want to skip doing our due diligence on deals. We don't want to rush without testing. They often lead to costly mistakes and setbacks. Another gem in the Bible is Proverbs 13:4. It says, the soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. Want that thriving revenue system? Loyal clients, growing team. It comes from steady, persistent action. The Proverbs 31 woman is a classic example. She rises early, manages her household, manages her business ventures wisely, and her efforts produce profit and respect. In practice, set daily principles. Track your progress. Work heartily, as Colossians 3:23 says, as for the Lord and not for men. We do our work as unto the Lord, to be pleasing unto the Lord. When we keep our eye focused on the higher standards of operation, we will gain higher standards of operation. When you treat your business like stewardship for God, diligent becomes worship, and it builds sustainable success. So that time-tested principle that goes over and over. Point number 2, integrity is non-negotiable. Your integrity should be non-negotiable. Your integrity will build trust and long-term prosperity. Integrity is something that we don't find too much anymore. Success built on dishonesty will crumble after a period of time. Proverbs 11:1 declares that a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. God blesses diligence, God blesses integrity. And when we try to make a quick buck at the expense of others, it will come back and bite us. In the ancient times, that meant honest skills in trade. Today, it's transparent pricing, fair contracts, keeping your word on deliverables, and ethical marketing. I've had several things that I've been in partnership with people and they've not carried their end of the bargain, and it's created loss. And I always kept my end of the bargain, even to my own hurt. But I can take and go to each one of those. My life has turned out far better than theirs has. They're struggling to keep up with everything, and God continues to bless. Proverbs 10:9 says, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out." Shortcuts might give you a quick win for today, but fudging numbers, overpromising, or exploiting loopholes, they erode trust and they do collapse at some point. In business, trust is currency. Um, Clients, partners, employees, stick with people with integrity, deal in integrity. Uh, I've learned that when it comes to integrity, I've always got to keep my integrity standing. I'm not going to try to gyp the thing to come out ahead. In Proverbs 28:6, it says, "Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways." Money is not the answer. Integrity, the value of integrity is far higher than the value of currency. This is something a lot of people can't get. The Bible prioritizes character over cash. When you operate, if you and I will operate with honesty, we're going to attract better opportunities in our life. We're going to avoid legal headaches, and we're going to earn a reputation that opens doors alone that can't be bought. In the office space that I have, I lease it, and the man that I lease it from is a very rich man. He's the highest rent collector in the county that I live in, but we've done things on a handshake because he trusts me. Um, we've done several types of business structures together, and there's never been an issue of I've got to get in a contract. And I don't recommend doing this, but the integrity, he trusts me on doing it. So real world application is pay vendors and employees on time. Leviticus 9:13 warns against withholding wages. Be upfront about what your product or service delivers, and when mistakes happen, own them. Just make it right. Integrity isn't always the easiest path, but it's the one that leads to secure, God honoring success. And if we can ever get that, you know, in our lives to operate that way, it does pay out. And the interesting thing is, I go back to the ones where the people I worked with, they lacked the integrity, but I came out better. I can't tell you how it worked. I know they struggle. I know they fight for everything that they've got. I don't. For some way in the realm of life, these principles that don't really seem like they're that important are extremely, extremely important. Point number 3, seek wisdom, plan carefully, and commit your work to the Lord. Great businesses don't happen by accident. They're built on wise planning and divine guidance. Sure, somebody may get into a business and they may make a lot of money, but if you gain a lot and lose your family, if you gain a lot and lose your health, the value of the money isn't worth it. And so, a great business built on God's principles will secure our lives in every area. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established." Work as though you're working to God. Instead of looking at the client and how can I take advantage of the client, work as though you're working with God, that God is your client. Be honorable in it. Um, Start with prayer. People pray all over the world. It's not just a Christian principle. Submit your strategies, your goals, and your decisions to God first. When you have a right motive, God will get involved. In Proverbs 21:5, it ties us back to the diligence, but emphasizes planning. Planning thoughtful step-by-step preparation leads to profits. And then Proverbs 15:22 warns, without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed. So don't go at life alone. Seek mentors, godly counsel, market research, wise input. I hope that you find this 15-minute podcast each week helpful to give you counsel, to help keep you straight. Things that I've experienced, both good and bad, you can learn from those things. And if we plan our lives accordingly, if we heed to wise advice, things are going to work out in the end. James, the book of James, chapter 4, verses 13 through 15, humbles us. Don't arrogantly say, today or tomorrow we'll go to this city, spend a year there, carry on business, and make money. Instead, say, if the Lord wills. Plans are good, but flexibility to God's direction is essential. When you seek his wisdom, James 1:5 promises that he will give us wisdom generously. So our business, if we align our business with eternal purposes and not just temporary plans, we're going to see things work. I've talked about this many times, that having a long-term outlook versus a short-term is very profitable. Many people, they're short-term minded. I had a situation here not too long ago where there was a person, I could see in the markets that gold and silver was going to go up in price, and they had a temporary problem that they were going to cash in some gold and silver. And so they asked me to help them get a price for it. So I just went back to the people they bought it for, put it in, set up, how much would you buy this back? And they gave a price. It was a fair price, but it was obviously below spot, because that's how the dealer makes their money. And so I said, here's the price that they want for it. And they said, okay, that's fine. Let's package it up, sell it. I said, hang on a second before you do that. I'll pay you the same price. If you're willing to sell it to them, I'll give you the same price that they're going to give you. You don't have to mess with the postage. So, oh yeah, that's fine. I'll sell it to you. So I wrote him a check for the amount. This was maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. And on last week of this recording, the week before this recording, I took it in based on the rise in gold and silver prices. I took it in and I more than doubled my money. What was the difference between me and the person that sold it? They had a short-term mentality. I've got this problem. Let me sell an asset. Let me get the money so I can deal with this. Mine was, these prices are going to continue to go up. Let me get some more of it and I'll sell it down the road when it's more valuable. So we need to have a long-term mentality in all things. So how do we do this in action? Build strategic plans, but hold them loosely. Be willing to fluctuate. Another situation I came into, same thing with the precious metals market, is I bought some with the intention of flipping it. And I thought when silver gets around $40 an ounce, I'll sell it. Well, silver right now is over $100 an ounce. I was flexible. When it hit 40, I could see the rise coming. So it's like, no, I'm not going to sell it based on my original plans. I ended up selling it for about $80 an ounce, which it went up quite a bit after that, but it was far more than my plans. So be strategic in your planning, have a long-term mindset, but hold them loosely. Pray over your decisions. Ask God to direct you when the right time is. Surround yourself with accountable voices. When you commit your business to God, he directs your path. Proverbs 16:9. And often in ways better than we can imagine. And I loosely say often. I mean, God has better plans than what we have. So let me wrap this up. Biblical success in business isn't about getting rich quick. It's about diligence that produces abundance, integrity that secures our path, wisdom that establishes our plans under God's guidance. And when we apply these 3 points consistently, we will build something that lasts, that honors God, and that blesses others. And this is a life that becomes worth living. It's joyful in what we accumulate and how we're able to help. So I want to thank you again for joining me this week. Click the like button, the thumbs up, make a comment, ask us a question, help us to get the algorithms going so other people can find us. And thank you once again for joining me today. in our podcast of Business, Money, and Christianity, a financial podcast from a faith perspective. Again, I thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.